One movie changed everything. What began as a celebrated on-screen partnership has now turned into one of Hollywood's most talked-about legal wars. One that experts say will follow both stars forever. Because no matter how this ends, Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni are no longer just former co-stars. They're now permanently linked by a battle that refuses to fade. And a year later, the fallout is only getting louder. At first, it looked like a Hollywood success story in the making. Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni came together for It Ends With Us, a deeply emotional adaptation of Colleen Hoover's best-selling novel. Fans were excited. The industry was watching. On paper, everything worked. The film performed well, the buzz was strong, and both stars appeared aligned behind the project. But behind the polished interviews and promotional smiles, something wasn't right. Reports suggest tensions quietly grew during production, the kind that never make it into press junkets or red carpet soundbites. What was seen publicly as creative collaboration allegedly felt very different behind closed doors. And then, that professional distance reportedly turned personal. According to later filings, moments that were once brushed off as on-set issues became impossible to ignore. What had started as co-stars working through a demanding project slowly spiraled into accusations that would completely shatter their relationship. By the time the movie hit theaters, the damage was already done, because long before lawyers entered the picture, trust had already disappeared. Everything changed in December 2024. That's when Blake Lively quietly filed a complaint with the California Civil Rights Department, an action that would detonate far beyond the courtroom. Reports claim she accused Justin Baldoni of sexual harassment and alleged that after she spoke up, a retaliatory smear campaign followed. Until that moment, whatever had happened on set was still mostly contained. That filing blew the doors wide open. Suddenly, this wasn't just industry gossip or whispered tension behind the scenes. It became a formal allegation, stamped into public record. And once that happened, there was no walking it back. The timing made the shock even bigger. It Ends With Us was still fresh in the public conversation, and instead of celebrating its success, attention snapped to the accusations. Headlines multiplied. Social media took sides. Every old interview, every body language moment, every past quote was suddenly being reanalyzed. And for Blake, this wasn't framed as a one-time incident. The complaint suggested a pattern, one that allegedly escalated after she raised concerns. That implication alone changed how the story was perceived, because this wasn't just a complaint anymore. It was the first domino, and just when it seemed like the situation couldn't escalate any further, it did. Only days after that initial complaint, Blake Lively took the fight to federal court. This time, there was nothing subtle about it. She filed a lawsuit seeking a jaw-dropping $161 million in damages, claiming severe emotional distress and long-term harm to her reputation. Overnight, this stopped being a personal dispute and became a high-stakes legal spectacle. The reaction was instant. Headlines exploded. Commentators picked sides. Every update turned into breaking news. And before the public could even process Blake's filing, Justin Baldoni struck back. In January, he launched a massive $400 million countersuit, arguing that the accusations had destroyed his name and career. He didn't stop there. Baldoni also filed a separate lawsuit against the New York Times, accusing the outlet of amplifying what he claimed were damaging narratives. At that point, the legal battle had fully spilled into the media bloodstream. Then came the twist no one expected. Both of Baldoni's lawsuits were eventually dismissed. Legally, the ground shifted fast. But by then, the damage was already baked in. Because while courts can dismiss cases, they can erase headlines, or the opinions already formed. And that's when the real firestorm began. A year later, the contrast between them couldn't be sharper. Blake Lively slowly stepped back into public view, but on her own terms. Select red carpets, controlled appearances, new projects rolling forward. To PR experts, the message was intentional, normalcy, confidence, no hiding. By continuing to show up, Blake signaled that she was moving forward, not retreating, and that alone shaped how the public read the situation. Justin Baldoni, meanwhile, went silent. He largely disappeared from the spotlight, with no major public appearances and no new projects announced. Insiders suggest the retreat was strategic, a way to avoid feeding the controversy. But silence comes with a cost. In Hollywood, Absence doesn't pause the narrative. It lets others write it for you. Publicists say both moves made sense for very different reasons. Blake's visibility suggested stability. Baldoni's withdrawal suggested damage control. Neither confirmed guilt nor innocence, but both sent powerful signals without saying a word. And in a battle this public, perception isn't a side effect. It's the weapon that here's where the story takes a strange turn. Both Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni claim the same thing, that their reputations were destroyed. Yet according to industry insiders, the most damaging force wasn't the accusations alone. It was the lawsuits themselves. Every filing added fuel. Every response triggered another news cycle. What was meant to defend their names only pulled more attention to the chaos that our experts call it the reputation paradox. You fight to protect your image, but the fight becomes the headline. And once that happens, there are no clean winners. What made this even more explosive was how public the battle became. Legal arguments turned into talking points. Court documents became viral screenshots. Fans weren't just watching, they were judging in real time. Ironically, the legal war created exactly what both sides feared most, a media circus that refused to move on. And while the courts weighed evidence, public opinion had already started forming its own verdict. Because in Hollywood, perception often moves faster than truth. And then there's the money, because in Hollywood, it always comes back to dollars and cents. Blake Lively's legal team claims she suffered more than $161 million in damages. That includes over $56 million tied to acting, producing, endorsements, and speaking engagements. Add another $49 million allegedly lost from her haircare brand, Blake Brown, and $22 million from her beverage lines, Betty Buzz and Betty Booze. Whether those numbers hold up in court or not, insiders say the lawsuits themselves have already affected business. Yet even in the chaos, results still speak loudest. It ends with Us performed well at the box office. Studios noticed. Despite the media circus, Blake's ability to generate revenue gives her leverage and a way to continue building her career. In Hollywood, money often outweighs controversy, and for Blake, that's a crucial advantage. For Justin Baldoni, the financial fallout is less clear. With no new projects announced and much of the public narrative dominated by the legal battle, insiders worry the long-term impact could affect his opportunities. In a business obsessed with perception and results, staying invisible isn't always safe. At the end of the day, lawsuits may dominate the headlines, but money is what truly drives decisions in Tinseltown. And for Blake, the numbers are still working in her favor. For Justin Baldoni, the question everyone's asking is simple. Can he come back? Industry insiders warn it won't be easy. This is what people know him for now, one source says. In Hollywood, once a public narrative takes hold, it's hard to shake, especially when it's tied to a high-profile legal battle. Studios remember, audiences remember, and peers take note. Opportunities don't just vanish. They get rerouted elsewhere, but there's a possible path forward, if he chooses it carefully. Experts suggest that silence, humility, and strategic reinvention could give him a shot. That might mean funding smaller projects, elevating other voices, or stepping back to quietly build credibility without the spotlight. Essentially, the key is to let actions, not headlines, redefine his public image. It won't happen overnight. Every move will be scrutinized. Every project will be weighed against the shadow of the lawsuits. And while some may forgive, others may not. In a career built on perception, the window for redemption is narrow, but not necessarily closed. Because in Hollywood, reputation is fragile, but reinvention is always possible. If you play it smart. The clock is ticking toward May 18th, 2026, the day the courtroom battle will finally reach its next chapter. But whether Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni settle quietly or face off in a full trial, one thing is already certain. History has already written their names together. Their careers, reputations, and legacies are now forever intertwined by this one explosive legal war. For Blake, the fight has become part of a larger narrative, proof of resilience, strategy, and visibility. For Baldoni, the path forward is murkier, hinging on careful choices and the hope of redemption. In the end, it's not just about who wins in court. It's about who survives the story Hollywood will always remember. And for both of them, that story is far from over.